Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's going to be a really quick fun video, and we're going to be talking about my top 5 Netflix shows currently, and I'm going to do a one what I'm currently watching and then one don't waste your time on. So let's go ahead and jump right into this video. Netflix is a great way to pass some time, and I'm always looking for new recommendations. So if you have anything that you are watching and you love, or you've watched a series that you could not get enough of, drop them down below in the comments. I'm always looking for new recommendations. All right, let's jump in. So top 5 is going to be Dead to Me, The Blacklist, In the Dark, Kim's Convenience, and lastly, Atypical. So it's a good mix of my top 5, and I'm going to go through each of them and talk a little bit about each of them. So let's start with Atypical first. So Atypical is about Sam. He's a boy who has autism, and Atypical has 3 seasons. I love when they have more than one season. It pulls you right in. So it tells you about his life and how he struggles with his autism and how he kind of adapts to it and copes with the people around him. So that's a really good show, and it's also really funny. All right, the next one, In the Dark. Oh, just saw Pose on my list. Pose is a really good one too. It's so hard. So maybe top 6, because we're going to throw Pose in there too. So In the Dark is about a blind girl who befriends a young man. Young man is around 16, 17. Don't quote me on that. He's also a drug dealer. She befriends him, and he winds up being killed. And that becomes her mission, is to find who killed her friend Tyson. That drives the whole show. So she is trying to find this killer. As you can imagine, she's blind. So she does encounter some obstacles while trying to find his killer. And the crazy thing is, like, she finds his killer. I don't want to give it away, but she finds his killer, and it's just this whole other entanglement. So that's a really good show as well. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so I did throw Pose in there, so let's talk a little bit about Pose. So Pose is kind of based in the 1980s, where kind of drag and people being gay are just coming out, and they're trying to explore themselves while trying to find friendship. So I love Pose. Pose is full of drama, realness, and guts. So it talks about the HIV epidemic in the 1980s as well, and how that really affected the gay community and the drag community. The storylines come together really well. So that's Pose. Now let's talk about The Blacklist. So The Blacklist is about a criminal mastermind who he's been evading the police for almost his whole life. Main character's name is Red Reddington. What is his first name? I can't think of his first name, but his name is Reddington, and they call him Red. So he turns himself in to the FBI. He's been wanted for all these years. There's this head FBI agent, Liz, who he requests to speak with. It has 6 seasons on Netflix, and it's one of my favorite shows because it has so many seasons. I'm one of the people who love being drawn into shows and learning the characters, and they become kind of like familiar to me. Like I said, Red is the main character, and then Liz is the FBI agent who he calls upon to talk to him and kind of get his secrets as to where everything is buried and all the things that he's done over the time. Kind of allude to that Liz is his daughter, but they don't really say it right off, but you can tell the dynamics, like, why is he looking for her specifically? So it explores that dynamic as well. So good. Now let's talk about Kim's Convenience. So Kim's Convenience is about an Asian family based in Canada, and they own a convenience store. So, well, they have a daughter and a son, and then there's the mom and the dad. So the dad is called Appa. Love this show. It's funny. It's very quick. I believe each episode is 20 minutes, 21 minutes. So it's something to put on at night when you really want to wind down and you don't want to think too much into storylines, but it just follows their day-to-day lives on how they interact with everyone and their culture and how people perceive them because they are Asian. So it's really funny, and I enjoyed watching it at night to decompress. This has 4 seasons, so another one that has a couple of seasons so you could get used to the characters and just chill, relax, and get to watch the show and really get engulfed in it. Oh, the fifth one that I really enjoyed watching was 13 Reasons Why. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it because when it came out, it got a lot of buzz. But basically, it's about a teenager in high school who commits suicide and she leaves behind 13 tapes. Each tape is dedicated to an individual who kind of impacted her life either negatively or positively. So it really speaks to true life issues that a lot of people hold in. So I think it explores and investigates that narrative really well, and it conveys the story of sadness and just real life trials and tribulations that people go through. So 13 Reasons Why is my last recommendation. So we have five of them. We have Atypical, Kim's Convenience, In the Dark, Blacklist, and 13 Reasons Why. All right, so now let's talk about one that you don't even need to waste your time with. So I know that Netflix is always like advertising their different movies and they try to pull you in, but here's one that you don't even need to waste your time on. It's called Dangerous Lies. Now, I'm not going to bash it because I did click on the title because the main girl in here also plays in Riverdale, which is one of my other favorite shows. So I definitely clicked on it to watch it. But the storyline was kind of flat for me. It was so flat and boring and just an unnecessary thing to watch. Like, I mean, I guess if you are bored and you just want to have it on in the background, but it was very predictable. At the end, I was just left with more questions than anything. And I'm just like, yeah, I shouldn't have watched that. So that's one that you shouldn't even waste your time on. Now let's talk about one that I'm currently watching. I actually have a couple that I'm currently watching. I'm watching Sweet Magnolias. I just started that yesterday. I'm on episode 2 right now and it seems pretty good. I'm waiting for it to pick up. It seems centered around small town drama and just really developing the characters. So it's pulling me in. Yep, it only has one season and I hate one season shows because I get pulled in and then I have to wait a year or so. Also currently watching Zoo. So Zoo has been out for quite a while. I watched most of it last year, but I started rewatching it because I want to watch it straight through. Zoo has 3 seasons. I'm on season 2 right now. And in Zoo, they're talking about how humans have always been, you know, the primary hunter of animals, and in this particular series, they go around and they flip it. So what if the animals kind of take over our world and kind of put us in our place, you know, hunt us, eat us, and kill us? It definitely talks about that dynamic and how it shifts and how the animals, how they progress and how they kind of outsmart us, because as you guys can imagine, you know, there's quite a bit of animals in the world, and just it'd be chaos if they tried to take over the world. They would outnumber us. So Zoo is crazy. I am really enjoying that right now. I mentioned Dead to Me. Dead to Me, I didn't really want to go too much into it because it got a lot of buzz when it came out. Dead to Me has 2 seasons. There's a whole like dedicated fan page to it on Facebook, and it has a really cult following. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. I like to highlight shows that maybe you haven't heard about and you want to get into. But Dead to Me is really good. Season 1 was basically you have a widow who her husband was killed, and then she goes to a grief group and she meets a friend there who's also grieving her boyfriend, and they become friends. I don't want to give away the story, but Dead to Me is really good. And they just go through their like little trials and tribulations as they get to know each other, and as the story unfolds about what actually happened to her husband who died, and she's struggling with her raising her 2 boys that he left behind, and she's just trying to cope with his death, make it through life. So but it seems kind of dark, especially with the name Dead to Me, but it's dark, it's funny, it's written really well. So that if you haven't checked that out but you've been hearing about it, I would definitely suggest it. So those are my top shows that I've been loving on Netflix. I think I've lost count on how many I've actually talked about. Oh, let's try to recap all the shows. I really should have written this down, but I'm trying to do it off cuff, off rip. We have 13 Reasons Why, Dead to Me, Pose, Atypical, Kim's Convenience, The Blacklist, and then for what I'm currently watching is Sweet Magnolias and Zoo. And then for the one that you should drop and not even spend your time on is Dangerous Lies. So if you've enjoyed this video, if you are my Netflix road dog, let me know what you are watching right now, because like I said, I love being engulfed in a show that has multiple seasons. I really like to get to know the characters. Sometimes I even watch shows multiple times. I'll give you a freebie of a show that I've watched maybe 3 or 4 times, and it's Gossip Girl. I love Gossip Girl. I can't get enough of that show. I've watched it at least 5 times. That and One Tree Hill. So now you know a little bit about me and my taste and what I like to watch on Netflix. But I want to know what you guys have been watching, what you've watched in the past, and let me know. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.